Hi parents, this is Jimmy Arispe with the Academy Way. I hope all of you are having an awesome day today. Hey, so this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I will call it teach your kids to sit down when they're lost. So, and parents, this is an awesome thing for you to teach your kids, and teachers, educators, this is a just enormous thing to teach your students. So when our son was, I think he was in second grade, maybe third grade, we went to church. My wife was out of town. Everything bad always happens when my wife was out of town. Like he breaks his leg. This story happened when she was out of town. So anyway, it's just purely coincidental. So it was Halloween-ish, and all the kids at the church were supposed to dress up in their Halloween costumes. So we go to a mega church in Atlanta, the Buckhead Church. Yay, Buckhead Church. They're awesome. And I worked with kids for 7 years at the Buckhead Church in the kids' environment. And of course, that's where Jake went. That's the only church Jake knows, our son. So, so we went to church, Jake and I, and he dressed up in his Batman costume. He was so excited. And so did, I don't know, it seemed like every other daggone kid there was dressed up in their Batman costume. So we got there, did church, and I went to pick him up like I do every Sunday after every church event Sunday. And I had him beside me, and then a parent grabbed me and started talking to me, and it just seemed like a couple minutes we were talking. And so Jake was right beside me when I stopped, and then I stopped talking about the parent. Again, just seemed about 2 minutes. Turned to my side, and Jake wasn't there. And so looked around everywhere, and I couldn't find Jake. And so, oh my gosh, and I started getting like nervous and stressed. And because I wasn't just looking for Jake, because everybody knew Jake at that time, right? He had been there since he was a baby. So 7-8 years, everybody knew him. Everybody knew what he looked like, but freaking everybody was dressed up as Batman that day. So and I can laugh about it now. So Buckhead Church is 3-4 stories, including the garage. I think it's 4. So we always parked in the garage where you had to walk outside to get to the garage. Okay. So this was a very normal path, for us and our family every single Sunday. And, so that's where we parked on this day. So when I kept looking for Jake, it, 5 minutes turned into 10 minutes, turned into 15 minutes. I probably waited too long to get a hold of one of the church security people, and it was probably like 10 minutes in, and I should have done it immediately, but I was so convinced that everybody knew Jake and that he knew the church so well that he wouldn't have a problem finding me. So they locked down the church, and I hear a call on the radio shortly after, maybe a couple minutes after they locked down the church, and that they had found Jake. And Jake was in the parking garage, had gone to the parking garage, and either one of the volunteers or a parent had seen him in the parking garage by himself. And so he made it all the way outside the building without me, and to the parking garage. And oh my gosh, I've never hugged that boy so tightly than I did that day. And so talked to him about it, and just about what happened, and he thought that I had continued walking and that he had lost me because I had continued walking. And sure, he was probably like distracted and looking everywhere like little kids do. And then think too, right? They're squatted down. They're like this height, and they're looking up. So they got a bunch of trees in front of them called adults. And so their perspective is much different. So after that, tried to think about ways that we could prevent that from moving forward. And this is 100% doable, and it will not fail. It will absolutely not fail you. Should you teach this to your child when they are lost, or should you teach this to your students for a field trip when they're lost? Because it's gonna happen. It happened to us, and unfortunately, or fortunately, hey, passing this on to you. So teach your kids to sit down immediately where they are when they are lost, when they believe they're lost, when they can't find you, when they don't see you. Teach them to sit down exactly in the spot where they're at. Don't tell them to go look for somebody, look for a police officer, look for a security officer. Who the heck knows who they are? And then they're going to be moving. So what you don't want to have happen is you don't want your kids, your students, to be in a different spot than where you last saw them, than where you lost them, right? Because you'll know where to retrace your steps back to based on when you last saw them. But if they're moving, you will have no idea. I had no idea where Jake was because he was moving. So please teach your own children to sit down exactly where they are when they realize they're lost. Teach your students to sit down exactly where they are when they're lost. And I absolutely promise you that you might lose them, but you will absolutely 100% find them, which is the most important thing. So thank you so much for listening. Please go to theacademyway.org for more information about all the awesome things that we do with kids. Thank you.